Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Tonight, we are going to be talking about something that we all need to heed to: boundaries. Yeah, I make them and then I break them, and then I make them again and I break them. So I have my friend here. Hold on, it's the mirror effect. Sarah. I pointed the wrong way. I have my friend here, Sarah. She is going to talk to us about how to not only set the boundaries, but to keep them in place and to remind yourself, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. So I'm going to have her to introduce herself and tell us a fun fact about herself while I shared this to my groups. So, Sarah, you have the
Awesome.
floor.
Sounds good. I'm really excited to talk about this. This is a topic that is for literally everybody, but for some reason in our caregiving nanny industry, it's like a very, very particular subject for us. Like it's a hard one. It's really, really tough for us, especially when we are so immediately reinforced for breaking them. Like it's really easy for people to like thank us and be over gracious and gratitude over us breaking our boundaries. And so that's why it's really important for us to in this space not only really be able to implement them, but like really know what they are, because so often we kind of know we need a boundary set, or we'll start setting random boundaries like throwing spaghetti at the wall without really knowing what our values are or what we're trying to get at. So yeah, that's something I'm really, really passionate about talking about with nannies and caregivers. My story, I call myself the codependent caregiver because all the things, everything I talk about, codependency, burnout, boundaries, are all things that I went through very literally. They are my story. And so I feel like when I was going through that burnout phase, I felt so isolated and insular, but I knew that there was no way I was the only one going through it. I knew that there had to be hundreds and hundreds of caregivers that were experiencing the same problem with creating these boundaries, with setting these boundaries, showing up for myself. So essentially what I've done is kind of created this course in this community to kind of put a real focus on that and really embrace boundaries as something that are ultimately helpful for us, because they truly are. They're how we exist in the world, how we interact with everybody in the day-to-day.
Now, tell us a fun fact about you.
All right, fun fact. I guess, fun fact, I was born on Halloween. So I'm a little Halloween baby, a little pumpkin spice, as my mom used to call me. And even funnier, I like to add, is that my sister was supposed to be born on Friday the 13th. But my mom had her induced on the 12th because she was like, I can't have a Halloween and a Friday the 13th baby. That's just like too much evil. I have to get rid of it.
Dad!
Like the universe had something stewing for her, and she was like, no way.
Halloween and Friday the 13th. Jason babies.
Mm-hmm. And my mom is super, super like superstitious. So she was like, this is what all happened to me. Why?
No, you can't do this to me.
Exactly. My sister is born in February, so it was either going to be Friday the 13th or Valentine's Day. And my mom was like, I could possibly wait it out for Valentine's Day, but it's not worth it.
Nah. So she was, well, your birthday would always be on Halloween. Her birthday would not always be on Friday the 13th.
Exactly.
So that makes a difference. So, hi, Mitch. How are you?
Hello, hello. That is so cool. The way this is just This is such an awesome platform. I love what you're doing here.
I love it too. I love it too. When I found it, I was like, someone told me about it when Zoom kept breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. How come I can't go online? Because everybody in school was on Zoom, and school took preference over, oh, you just want to go for live on Facebook. Not gonna happen. So it was this, and then I started liking it, and then I said, okay, well, I'll subscribe to it, and then I subscribed, and I got all these other features. I was like, yes. Now if I can just get YouTube to cooperate when I run my videos, they keep saying, oh, this is a copyright, and that's a copyright, and that's a copyright. But I use the apps that I use the music. I pay for the apps to use the music on my social media.
You're like, I've done all the due
I've
diligence to
done
make
all
this
my
right.
due diligence, and then you're gonna tell me, and then the company who gave the rights to their music comes back and says, well, guess what? You're not gonna monetize it, but guess what? I am. So I'm paying you twice.
No, not about it.
So until I figure out how to do that, I'm not going to put that out there anymore. Hello, Zadie. How are you? Let's see who else came in. Uh-oh. Hi, Stephen. How are you? That's my best friend. How are you? Thanks for watching. Okay, so we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. I know now's the time. It's the beginning of the year. It's time to set those boundaries. Basically, it's time to keep those boundaries. And how do we go about doing that? Because sometimes it's easy to say, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's the new year. I'm not going to do this. It's kind of like making a resolution, and then you're like, 2 weeks down the line, you're like, oh, was I supposed to be doing that? Oh, well, see, what had happened was. So keep us from going into what had happened was land.
Totally. Yeah. And I totally agree with you, especially as we started this new year. It was like, okay, I'm going to start with my head in the right space. I'm going to put my working pants on, and I'm going to get to it. And then we say oh, I want to set boundaries here. I want to set boundaries there. But really there's so much underlying subconscious work that needs to be done, because we have so many preconceived notions about what boundaries are, what boundaries look like, who boundaries serve. So often I find that we think of boundaries as this looming, lofty, negative thing that creates barriers between us. But ultimately, we are setting boundaries all of the time. When any decision that we make, we're saying, this is a boundary for me. This is what I want to do, as opposed to something else. If I'm setting the boundary for myself that I want to eat chicken cutlets for dinner as opposed to potato chips, ultimately that's a boundary that I'm setting for myself. And so kind of setting up our framework for what boundaries are as tools for us to go through life, as tools that support us, as opposed to things that are barriers or blocks in relationships.
Okay. So how do we get into that mindset of, is it talking to ourselves every day? Is it practicing it, or catching yourself when you're doing something? How do we get into that mindset of, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to do this. How do we, because for some of us, it's not as easy as it is for others.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Even so a big part of, I think, I like how you mentioned talking to yourself, or I like to write things down, because I find out that so often, even when I'm talking like this to myself and I'll say, I want to set a boundary here, I'll self-sabotage myself and I'll talk myself out of it. And I'll start to say I don't know, I don't think that they would be respectful of that, so I talk myself out of it. Or I don't think that they would actually buy into that, so I'm going to talk myself out of it, as opposed to realizing that the boundary is less so about their response at all. It doesn't even really matter how they respond to my boundary. The boundary is what is my value set. So I think that is kind of what the most important part is really figuring out what your boundaries are and what they are supporting, so that you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall, but knowing that if I'm overworked, setting the boundary of like an end time to my day, setting the boundary is not damaging the relationship when I set it up to be, I need to end at the same time every day so that I can come at the same time every day and show up 100%. And so I can show up and support you. And so reframing those boundaries so that they are not those blocks, but ultimately finding out what it is that supports you. And so, like I said, with the writing it down, sometimes I find that once we start, keep going, and we allow ourselves to kind of be as petty as we want to in our writing, and kind of just like get it all out, because so often there's those underlying beliefs that are down there that we're like, we're not worthy of setting them, or they're not going to respect me, or usually it's something about our worth deep down that we don't feel we're worthy of setting it in the first place. So breaking down that barrier, because ultimately the boundaries are what support us and allow us to show up fully.
So we have to change our mindset, as in, I am worthy of this. I am worth this. And basically, we need to know our worth and then add tags.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's like my module courses are kind of set up to be in that way, where it's like, okay, let's reroot in yourself. Let's start with that bottom rooting. If we have all that nasty root rot, like no matter what we do at the top of the tree, it's not going to matter, because we're still like icky down there. Like we need to get that self-care, self-love. And that's like the real self-care, like not the bubble baths, not the yoga in the park, but the like really like sitting with yourself and being comfortable caring for yourself in the most intimate and childish of ways, honestly.
So setting boundaries, if I'm hearing you right, is like, are you taking care of a tree? And everything above ground, it looks, but when you dig down below and those roots are starting to rot, even though the leaves are green, they're going to slowly start falling off the tree because you're not taking care of the roots. And if something comes in like fungus or whatever the case may be, you're not giving it enough water, or you're not giving it enough food or seeds or whatever, that fertilizer, that's what I'm trying to say. You're not giving that tree enough fertilizer, it's not going to grow and flourish. So if you're not taking care of what's at the root, which is your mindset, which is your attitude, which is your, you have to be ready and stick to your guns. If you don't stick to your guns, your roots, and pretty soon that tree's going to start swaying in the wind, because I'm not grounded. If my roots are like, okay, I'm just floating along. If they're grounded, it's like I'm holding on like a palm tree. Now, palm trees, they will sway and swing and go this way and that way, but it's like a rubber band. They keep popping back up. But if you're like more like an oak tree and your roots are not grounded, you're going to sway and swoop. And pretty soon you're going to go, and that's going to be the end of you.
Yeah. And you're going to be like, what? I had all these beautiful flowers and trees. Like, what happened?
Yeah. It's very, very important to take care of your roots, take care of your heart, know that you're worthy, know your worth, because if you don't know your worth, you'll settle for anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Zadie says, agree about knowing your worth and being comfortable with that. Yes, you need to find your worth. Who is this? Oh my gosh. Hi, Greg. That's one of my childhood friends. We talking 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
A friend. I hadn't seen him since my dad's funeral a couple of years ago. Oh, wow. Hi, Greg. How are you? But anyway, back to the point. Um, but yeah, Rosaline said 100% plus tax. So when you don't know your worth and you don't think you are worthy, or you let people treat you and walk all over you any kind of way without setting the boundary, that just gives them permission to just keep walking. Oh, you gonna let me walk over you this time? Let me put on my big boots and just keep trudging all over you. Okay. Ooh, going out. Oh, let me put on my heels. Let me keep spiking down into you. And you get frustrated. And I'm a correction. I was. I have come up out of that. I was a very passive, aggressive person. I know, I know that um a passive aggressive person, it just kind of builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. No, I don't mind staying late. Oh, you're not gonna come home on time. Oh, you want me to do this extra chore? Oh, you want me to cook dinner too? Oh, date night? Oh, what? I can't have my vacation? What? You want me to come in and the snow is 10 feet of snow out there? What? You want me to,
Mhm.
and it just keeps building and building and building until it's here. And when you can't take anymore, it becomes fight or flight. Either
Yep.
you gonna lead a job or you gonna blow up at mom boss and dad boss, and they're gonna be looking at you like, what's wrong with you? Because you never said anything. Because
Exactly.
you never took that boundary and you stuck with that boundary. No, I need to get off at this time. When I agreed, the family that I'm working with now, uh, mom broke her foot. And I agreed to work extra hours to help them out because they both work from home, but she had just had a brand new baby. So caring for a baby with a broken foot, trying to walk around in a boot and carry the baby and get down on the floor with the baby and all. So I said, okay, here is what I am willing to do. And here is what I will not do. So I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Like you said, I wrote it down. And, well, actually, I texted it to them, but still, it was in writing. So,
Yes.
same difference. I sent it to them and I said, here's what I'm willing to do because I was working overnight. My daytime and my nighttime is two different prices. And I know that they're on a budget. I said, look, this is what I'll do. I'll do this, 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 and this. And I will, my price for all of that is this per hour. Now, once I stop working nights and I start working during the day, I can come at this point, this time, but I need to leave at this time because I have something I need to do. I need to leave early. So basically, I leave early on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday because I have Ask the Nanny, I have my cooking show, and I have the nanny hookup. Now, it's your choice. You can accept the hours that I'm offering you, or so they said yes. So I was like, okay. So that was the boundaries that we came up with. That was what I said because they would have had me there from 8 to 5.
Yep. Yeah.
But
And I
because
think
of
for
my
so many of us, yeah, we start from that place of goodness and we're like, I want to help you. I want to help. I want to help. I want to help. I know you're struggling. And then, but when we do that without setting the boundaries, we're actually setting up the whole thing for failure if we do it without boundaries because we're allowing the chance for that overextending, allowing the chance for them to depend on me 24/7, allowing the chance for that to happen. Like you said, I love that. That's great illustration.
But tell me this.
Mm-hmm.
I know we need to set boundaries. I know all this writing it down and everything. But what if we've been with our family for a while And we've been doing all these things, and all of a sudden we say no.
Mm-hmm.
What then?
Yep. It's like, yeah. And so I think there's this, so often we get afraid of setting the boundaries because we're afraid of the no. So when the no happens, what then? It's going to happen. Sometimes there are going to be times when you are in relationships or dynamics that are no longer the right fit, no longer supporting you, no longer the best that they can be. That doesn't mean that you can't set boundaries and move forward. But I think a lot of the times when we come from that burnt out place, from that fight or flight, from that like, I just need it to stop. That's the like response we're going to get is just okay, it's done. As opposed to like picking ourselves up and like rerouting and like, no, boundaries are in service of us, both parties. Yeah, yeah, it happens. And it's really hard, especially for us in this COVID-19 space where there are people that are in budgets, or there are people changing up their entire childcare plan. And unfortunately, a lot of us nannies are kind of stuck in this limbo.
So give us a nice way to say no, to put it out there. And as I know, a few weeks ago, well, not a few weeks ago, last week when it snowed, last Monday, I put a letter out there. I have no snow here, okay? I don't even live near the snow. It snowed one time in the last 5 years where I live. And I wrote the letter because I kept going in groups and seeing, they're expecting me to come. How do I tell them no? They're expecting me to do this. They're expecting me to do that. And if this happens and he wants to come pick me up and they want me to spend the night, and I was like, okay, I have been in a situation where I work for 2 reporters. And if it's snowing, hello, we got to be the first ones on the street to
in a
blizzard. And I'm supposed to be at work at 7. So I get up and I'm on the road at 5:30. My job is 30 miles away from me. Now I have a van and I'm seeing people going phew, past me, phew, and I'm following the truck that's dumping the gravel. I'm like, okay, I'm following you. I'm gonna stay. Yeah. I'm gonna stay back, but I'm gonna follow you in your lane. So I'm following him, and I got there at 7. But that same truck, cars went pew, pew, a couple of miles up. They went pew, pew, and they're on the side of the road in a snowbank. But I got up and went because it was my first nanny job. And I had no clue. Okay, so am I supposed to show up? I know that they gotta go to work, so I gotta go to work. And it ended up snowing all day long. Mom went and did her segment in the morning and sent me home after the sun came up because I was driving in the deep dark, and I went home. It was still snowing. It took me 2.5 hours to get home. It took me an hour and a half to get there. Then it took me 2.5 hours to get home. And when I got there, I didn't go in the next day. I said, don't expect me to come in the next day. I came in today because I know you all are reporters and we haven't discussed this. I said, but I'm not coming in tomorrow. And when I realized they were going through all this stuff that I was going through, I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I've been there. I've done that. I wasn't asked to. I would just assume that I had to. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna write this letter. I've had plenty experience under my belt now. I've lived in Alaska, so I know how to drive on the snow.
I've seen the snow.
I know the snow, but I put it out there and I had such an overwhelming response of thank you for sharing this. Thank you. I'm going to share this to the moms groups. I'm going to share this here. I'm going to share this there. And it was very over dramatic. And I made it that way so that I was like, okay, so no, please don't expect me to ride with you in the car, because while you may think you know how to drive on the snow, you can't control all the cars around you. So I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and please don't ask me to come spend the night. And then one of the responses was, yes, that's just like your boss asking you to come into the office and spend the night so you'll be at your desk at 8 a.m. in the morning. I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. But everybody doesn't know how to voice that. Everybody doesn't know how to say those words to their employer or write that letter. I even had somebody, I'm copying and pasting this right now and putting it in an email. And I was like, okay. but that's just one incident. How do we find the nerve? How can we gently and more importantly, effectively say no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And
that's such a hard one for us, especially for us that are like want to just naturally give, and that's just our natural tendency. So, but I love what you had just said. When you set your boundary, you explained what their value set was, what they needed. You were like, I know that you need somebody here. So this is what I can provide. I'm going to do this. This is what I can do. Going forward, this is the plan. And so I like how that you put the value, the need, and the action to support it. And I think that's what so many of us are missing, is we're missing some piece. We're like missing the way to tell them that, like, I understand what you're asking for. I understand what you're valuing, what you're intending. This is what I'm capable of providing. And then how can we either compromise or show up or do the actions to support whatever's necessary. And so I love that you explain to them, like, you're a journalist. I get it. I know that you have an obligation, and I'm going to do what I can to support you in making sure your obligations are done. But then I'm not going to go beyond that. I'm not going to overextend myself. I'm not going to make it a habit where it seems like I am at your beck and call, because I'm not. And that's not supportive of us anyways. If you make the assumption that I am going to drop everything at every dime, like, that's not really saying anything about me as a nanny. It just means that I'm willing to drop everything and show up for sometimes they're not even that dire of situations. So I think it's really important for us to recognize that, like, when it is something that is really important and we need to set a boundary, or something that we're just kind of irritated by and don't necessarily need to set that hard, but really do the inner work and, like, what's going on with me? Why am I getting a little antsy at work? Maybe I need to set an inner boundary, not necessarily an external boundary.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we need to get comfortable with not being so responsible for their feelings, because there are times when us calling out is going to lead to them being frustrated. Naturally, they're put out, but it's not the end of the world. Especially if you are mindful and intentional about, like, there are days when a sick day is more convenient than other days, and we're all aware of it. And we can't, like, I think we somehow catastrophize these sick days or boundaries or all these things, when it's like, it doesn't need to be that, like, crazy. It's just
I'm gonna have to use that one.
Yeah, like, we catastrophize them, and it's like,
oh yeah, but those three things that you mentioned, you said
the value, what the
value.
boundary is valuing, what's the point of it, the need, what need does it support, and then what action steps are you going to take to implement them? Because so often we don't take those action steps. We don't say, we say, like, I'm setting this boundary, but then they come at it again the next time asking you, hey, I'm running 20 minutes late, after you've already set the boundary that you need to let me know ahead of time when you're running late so I can plan ahead. If they keep doing that, you need to have the action plan to support it and say, like, hey, I've noticed that this keeps coming up. Do I need to put in a late fee? Do I need to put in XYZ, like, to make sure that this goes smoothly? Even boundaries are even that, like.
Yes, I have a late fee in my policy, in my contract. Now, if you don't let me know and you just show up, it's double for when you let me know and you still late. So you want me here on time, ahead of time, ready to work, ready, on ready, set, go when 8 o'clock comes. You want me there at 7:45 so you can debrief me. So when 8 o'clock comes, you can like, bye. So you want me there 15 minutes early, which is not on the clock, first of all. And then you want to give me the rundown, tell me what I need to do, tell me what I need to know. And then, okay, I'll see you later. And then it's like ready, set, go. But what I need everyone to realize is that you have a life. If COVID doesn't teach you anything, you have a life. And life is precious.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this. Ooh, if I didn't learn anything else during COVID, life is precious and it is not promised. And if you give up your family time so they can run late, or and then they come in and they have bags of groceries. Oh, I'm running late. Well, you were at the grocery store. That's why you run late. Or they come with a box of pizza or takeout or whatever in their hands. Well, that's fine because they're feeding their family. When by the time they get there, they're going to expect the rundown because I haven't been here. Uh, and you can't just say, check the app and be out
Yeah.
because that's not acceptable. What do you mean, check the app? Well, you're late. I got somewhere to be. If you are taking your precious time away from your precious family, because I would hate it if you promise someone, I'm going to be there, I'm coming to see you, you know, they are sick or whatever, and you're coming to see them, and then you show up and it's too late,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't get to your date on time. And that could have been the man of your dreams, girl. What do you mean? And you just, well, I had to work late. I'm so sorry. Hmm. Don't miss out on boo.
Mm-hmm.
Your man of your dreams because you are working.
Yeah.
Mom and dad boss already married. They already found the love of their life. Or you have something planned. You have class. Okay, well, even though it's online, you still don't want to be sitting in mom and dad's house with the kids surrounding you because you can't focus on class. Oh, well, you can just hook up your computer, go in the other room and hook up your computer. No, that's not how this works. I need my books. I need my space. I need my time. I need my cookies so I can and milk so I can crunch and munch while they're, put my screen on dark while they're discussing stuff, and I can sit here and eat my milk and cookies, my snack or whatever I'm doing while I'm at class. I have, booked something with my girlfriends, a virtual whatever. Know that your time is valuable. And even if they're paying you overtime, your time is still valuable. Like Sarah said, what's the value? Your time,
Mm-hmm.
your them considering you as a professional. And see, sometimes we get to a point where, they want us to be the professional. And we are the professional. But at the same time, if you don't come at them as a professional every time, they disrespect your they disrespect you and try to walk all over you and try to, oh, well, why do we have to do this and why do we have to do that? Well, you didn't do it before, you didn't do that then, well, why are you doing it now? Because things have changed. And even if you haven't set boundaries before now, the words my life has changed, situations, personal my personal life has changed, and I need to make some changes, and it is going to directly affect you. So I would like to sit down and take some time out with you to discuss my personal, the way that my personal life is going to affect you. You don't have to tell them that I'm tired of working all these hours. Shoot,
Right.
I'm gonna go, we're gonna nip this in the bud. We're gonna, yes, it's cutting into your personal life. You don't have to tell them, well, what's wrong? It's a personal matter, and I really don't want to discuss it. And I don't want to discuss that part, but I'm letting you know that because of my personal things that are going on in my personal life, it is going to affect me not being able to stay on Friday nights. It's not going to affect me not being able to. We agreed to your 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are. Stick to them and let them know that because of your personal um, things that are going on, that it's gonna be a hard no for date night every Saturday night. I can do once a month or even twice a month, but I cannot do I cannot be here Monday through Friday and then show up on Saturday night. Now, if you're desperate for money, that's a totally different thing. But
Because that's what the value is, right? Like, that's the value behind the boundary. If you're willing to do the work because you're valuing the money, cool. If you're like, if the value is your time, then the boundary needs to reflect that.
Say it again for the people in the back. But yes, you all need to know that your time is valuable. That, you here today and gone tomorrow. Seeing my childhood friend here, it reminded me that because his mom and dad were best friends with my mom and dad. And we were just we lived right around the corner from each other. So we went to the same schools. We had hung with the same crowds. He's the same age as my younger brother. His sister is right between me. She's like my sister and I are 2.5 years apart. His sister fell right in between the cracks of that, so it's me, then her, and then my sister. So we're right in the cracks. So we're all right there together. And we spend the night at each other's house. So knowing the value of seeing friends that you haven't seen in a while, we're getting old, and I don't know about y'all, but my knees are creaking, and high blood pressure trying to get on me. I have an injury in my eye, and just all kinds of stuff that is going on that nobody really knows about, but the aches and pains you know about every day. And the ones that you don't tell anybody about until you go to the doctor and find out, oh my God, yeah, it's stage 4, or we need surgery, or we're going to have to remove that, or, you're going to have to change your lifestyle, because if you don't, go like that. So when you get to that point where you value you more than you value what they value, which is working you and working you and working you. And as long as you say yes, they're going to keep asking.
Yep.
And don't look crazy when they look at you like, what do you mean no?
Right, because you're like breaking a pattern. Like, yeah.
Yes.
And it's really, really hard for us when, we assume like it's helpful, it's helpful, it's helpful. But it's like at some point you need to you're worth something. You're worthy. Yes. And I think in these caregiving spaces or nannying spaces, we start to think of ourselves as like less than, or like subordinate, or the help. And it's like, no, in any other situation, we're hired for a service, and the service that I am providing is not showing up 24/7, is not answering calls in the middle of the night, is not being taken advantage of. Like being really clear with what the expectations of what our role is, and not not breaking those boundaries because we're nice, which is so often what we do.
because we are heart people.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want anybody to be disappointed. We don't want,
Exactly.
and we don't want, and sometimes I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. But how long are you going to let them smile and go,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna get her to work on Friday night. Yeah, I let her out 30 minutes early today, but I'm gonna keep her here all night Friday night. That's gonna be my exchange. No, that's not an even exchange.
Yeah.
I've
Or they
been
think,
there.
well, she didn't say anything about it, so she probably is fine with it.
Mhm. And I've been in, and I say that because I've been in that situation where I'm not being paid, but I'm expected to come in. Did you forget that payday was last Friday and it is now Tuesday and you want me to still come in and do what? But you haven't even, not a partial payment, not a mention of my paycheck, not oh, well, they did this and the bank did that. So I'll get it to you as soon as possible. And do you realize that in the contract, there is a $50 a day fee that you need to add on to and that does not mean Monday through Friday. That means Friday, Saturday, Sunday, twice on Sunday. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you have to, that's why you have your contract, because it sets that boundary for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets to the point, I will go in, copy that little line, pop, this is the clause. Okay. So here we have the problem. And here is what it states in the contract. So when you pay me, I expect payment for it being late on. You didn't pay me on Friday by 9 a.m. You didn't pay me on Saturday. You didn't pay me on Sunday. You didn't pay me on Monday. And here it is Tuesday. Well, guess what? Day 5, it says after 5 days being late, I do not come in until I get payment.
That's a beautiful clause. Everybody needs
And
to write this down.
And because I have guaranteed pay, I get paid when I'm not there because you didn't pay me.
Mm-hmm.
So that boundary that you are setting, and they may get mad and they may get angry and they may get upset, but if you don't hold to that boundary, and I know I have anxiety and I'll be sitting there on pins and needles. I'm like, oh Lord, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna give me the money? Are they not gonna pay me? Oh my goodness. Okay, so do I need to go on care.com and start do I need to go apply at this agency? Okay, so do I need a new job? Are they gonna pay me? And then if they refuse to pay you overtime, I'm not coming back till you get an overtime, till you give me the late fees. So if it's a late fee attached to it and you only want to give me my regular paycheck, oh well, here's your paycheck on Wednesday. Okay, thank you. Where is Monday, Tuesday? And
Mm-hmm.
the late fees for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So you have to call their bluff.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it that way, but you have to, because I'm not saying this is all parents, because the majority of the parents are not like this, but some parents are.
Yeah.
They just see it as you're the hired help and I'll pay you when I get to you. But that's not, if you see yourself that way and you accept that, then they're going to continue to treat you like that.
Right.
But if you sit it out and make them realize, oh, I can't handle my kids. Oh, she didn't show up. Oh, she knows I have an important meeting today.
Yeah.
And all I hear is crickets. And all you hear is your baby going, Mama, 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 Mama.
Yeah,
So,
they know your worth real quick once that happens. So you
yes.
need to know your worth real quick once that happens. Like,
Risa
It's so
says you're
important.
so right, like texting me when I'm with my family. Yes, texting you when you're with your family, and they expect you to answer them right back.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
Saturday. I'm not on the clock.
right.
So if I get back to you, it may be Monday morning. If I get back to you, it may be late that night when I have time. So please don't expect me to readily answer you. My boss always forget to pay at the end of the week. Shut up, Angela.
I know that's a hard one for a lot of us because it's so weird exchanging money for our like good-heartedness. But it's like it's ultimately an energy exchange. What are we putting in? I'm going to receive the same amount. Money can be really weird for us.
Yes, because you don't know our bills. You don't know what we have to pay and what we don't have to pay. Because I knew several nannies who were here from another country, and most of their money went back to their families
Mm-hmm.
because our dollar was like triple or quadruple what their money was worth. So they thought, oh, she's rich and she's living in a room in somebody's house, renting
Yeah.
a room so she can send the money back to. And because you're not giving me my money, I can't send money to my family. My family may starve.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just assume that because you didn't pay me that I'll be all right.
Right.
Because it's not just me. Just
Yeah.
because I come here and I come to you and I'm single, that does not mean that I don't have children, that I'm supporting aunts, uncles, whoever. I may be supporting family members or paying off student loans or a car note, insurance, uh, everything. But
Mm-hmm.
how about just eating?
Yeah.
Period. Basic need, eating.
Right. Just
You
because our
don't
job is a caregiving one doesn't mean it's not like a job. We have bills to pay. We have like things to do.
late fee clause. I don't even have that on my contract. I will now. Good. Please
Good. Yes.
do. Mitch says, LOL, I shut off my work phone and they text me on my personal
No.
phone.
No.
I'm a Libyan, by the way. Oh, you're a
That's hard.
Libyan. That's hard.
Really, really hard.
That
Boundaries
was,
are super important there.
yes, super important to have some hard boundaries. Ah, Mitch says, I'm supposed to get paid on Monday and got paid on Thursday. Never apologize. Shut up, Angela. Some of the things that come to my mind, I have to think twice before I say them because I am an older seasoned nanny and I know what I would do. As a live-in, Mitch, I know it's hard. I know this. I've been there, I've done that. I know it's hard, but I always have a rainy day fund in case I need to get away, get up and go, or in case they decide, oh, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, like COVID. So many of us. That was really, really hard. So many of us woke up to like texts just like, can't do it anymore. Goodbye.
Yeah. Would you share your clause contract for late payment, please? Okay. Um, I'll type it in here. I have to type it in here. But I tell you what, let's see. What else she said? I am working in my new position, making my contract. Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
Leticia.
good. Get it in from the
Yes.
beginning.
I'm so glad you got a new position. No, that's a whole nother story. But I'm so glad you got a new position. Yes, yes, yes. That's my friend.
I'm
That's my
loving seeing everybody get back into the groove, get their fits right, get their right families, get
yes,
supported, fall
yes.
in love with this industry again. I think this last year was kind of a big just wake up call, slap in the face, all kinds of stuff. This year was like really getting back into our groove again.
You're welcome, Lucretia. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Mitch says, my last day is at the end of this month. It stinks. I cannot find something to leave, but but I found my worth. Great.
Yes.
That was worth it. To find your worth, that was worth it.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Glad
Yes,
you
and that's a
did.
big thing to remember too. When the boundaries that we recognize we need, if the family is not the right family to support those boundaries, that's okay. Like find the right fit, find the right family that is going to support you because they are out there. You don't need to stick around with something that doesn't serve you, doesn't serve the industry, doesn't serve anything.
I can't thumbs up that enough. Yes, I always say that. Okay, wait. Well, okay. I always say find the right fit and the right family, even if it's at $1 or two lower. Peace of mind is priceless.
Oh yeah.
And the perks that come with a family, I have worked with families who could not, quote unquote, afford me, my rate. But I work with them, and when I tell you the peace, the caring, the come on in, the family's here. Come on, have some lunch, have some. They always had a meal for me. They always so even if I made $1 or two less an hour, I would have spent that on buying food, breakfast, lunch. When I tell you breakfast, lunch, and dinner was provided for me. Now, sometimes it wasn't what I wanted to eat, but it was still offered to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you, grandparents on birthdays, just any occasion, that because they celebrated everything, they decorated the house for everything.
I love that.
Any occasion, grandma and grandpa, oh, we love you. Oh, we went to the store and this is what we got you. Those families, oh my gosh, it was like, what money? I'm not missing anything. I if I use my car, let's put some gas in your car. Let me here you go. And it was like, okay, so I'm adding up the IRS 54.5%, and I'm telling them this is how much it was, the miles. Oh, here's $20. But it was only $5 and some change. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Those type of things, when I know that I'm valued, when I know that it's not about the money. It's about we're going to take care of you because you take care of our kids. And not only our kids, but you take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I don't know anyone who can say that taking care of the kids is not also taking care of the parents. Because you're there teaching the parents regardless whether you say anything to them or you show them by the way you take care of their kids, you're still teaching the parents. So it's all a family affair, not just a nanny job. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just, I'm here for the kids. You're here for the whole family because that whole family would not function if it was not for you. Know that. I
Yep.
left
Know
my
it.
job of 4 years. Oh my gosh. That's hard to do.
I feel like that's kind of like the sweet spot. I feel like 3 to 4 years is like when you're there for life, you're a lifer, or we're moving on.
Two.
2.
Two is the longest for me
Yeah.
because by the time they get out of the top of the stage, I'm out. I
Yeah.
don't, and I always joke and tease, but I'm so serious. I don't deal with children with mouth almighty. If I got to remind myself, that's not your child. That's not your 50 million times a day.
Oh yeah.
That is not
Oh yeah.
because the way I raise my kids, I could just give a look like
Mm-hmm.
to these kids. They're like, they'll go. You give them a look, they'll be like, and
Look back.
I'm like, okay, see, I got to go because you're not listening. You're not taking on cues. Bye bye. So it's hard for me when I see a child that 2 years. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That will leave you open to find the right job. Yes, it will, Zadie. It will leave you open to find the right job when you are earnestly looking for the right fit and not just taking a job because. Denise says, peace of mind is everything. Girl, say it
It
again.
really,
Some people in
really
the
is.
nosebleed section didn't hear you. Okay, Denise Page, I was valued for a long while, but there seems to be a shift now. COVID.
Yeah. And like, yeah, so many of us, I like how you mentioned earlier, when we're in our fight or flight, we're not making good decisions. We're not making sound decisions. And I think for so many of us, yeah, it was a really good fit, a really good value. And then something happened, COVID. And we're all in like this raw fight or flight space, kind of cutthroat on our own, it feels like, in some
Yeah.
ways.
And speaking of COVID, the families have put boundaries around us. You can't hang out with your friends. You can't go out to eat. You can't go here. You can't go there. But grandma's at the house, grandpa's at the house, cousin Ray Ray, Uncle Bubba, and my friends, they just came over for a play date. I don't know these people. I don't know who they've been around. Are they COVID safe? Have they had a COVID test? I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. You're putting boundaries on me. But what about you?
Yep.
You and your husband, you want me to stay Friday night so y'all can go out to a party. Okay, so party means that there's going to be a few people there and probably people that I don't know. And because you haven't seen them for a while, y'all going to get careless and kind of and hug and, y'all going to be too close. But I can't go and do the same thing with my friends. Oh no. So what did you and the first thing when you come in on Monday morning? So what did you do this weekend? It's not I'm interested, but I'm interested because I need to know that you didn't go out and do and party and all over the place and gallivanting all over the town and everything. That's what I really need to know instead of did you have fun this weekend? I need to know did you go have too much fun this weekend?
Exactly.
So there's boundaries there that families are setting for you. But what about you setting some for them? Are you going to stay safe? Are you going to be, inviting people from, oh, Uncle so and so is coming in from Chicago. So and so is coming in from Florida. And Florida is one of the highest.
Oh, yeah. So bad.
And I'm not saying that everybody there has COVID, but it's like the germ is there. I mean, Texas is big too, and we have a whole lot here too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the Bay Area. We have 2 random variants now. Like, yeah, we're not doing so hot. But like, you're so right. The families are setting up these boundaries for what we are supposed to do or expected to do. And similarly, when we interview for jobs and we're like, it's not just you interviewing for the job, it's you interviewing the company. In the same way, we need to like kind of, what do we expect of our nanny families? What do we expect that their precautions, their expectations, their stuff looks? What a nerve they have.
I'm laughing at the next comment. Maybe says, what a nerve they have to try and control your life, huh? Yes, it is a nerve. And I have told families, I don't get the flu shot and I won't be getting COVID. Both times that I got the flu shot, I thought I was going to die.
I know.
My body does not like foreign antibodies. It just doesn't. I don't do well with medicine. Uh, I go and get foods because that's what works for me. My foods are my medicine. And I will research, okay, what's good to eat for this? What's good to eat for that? And I will go stock up and do, I take vitamins every day. I take whole food vitamins. I can't even take the Centrum, the one a day, women's one a day. I can't even take those because they make me sick in my stomach. Either I'm eating all day to keep up with that medicine and to keep from being nauseated, or I don't take them at all. When I take whole food vitamins, I can take it on an empty stomach. And I'm good. So because I know my body and because I'm not finna die for nobody. And it was a nanny family. She said, well, we'll pay for your shot. Now, mind you, They got sick 3 days after, and I nursed them back to health. And then I got sick. Went home for a week, came back too soon, and got almost passed out at work. Went back home for another week and a half. The second time I got it, the shot, I was sick for 3 weeks. I mean, like fever of 104, body aches, felt like I was sunburnt all over my back. So I don't get those virus shots. Now my immunization, measles, mumps, rubella, all those, they don't bother me. And I think because I had them as a child, but all the flu shot stuff, I've gotten older. My body has gotten weary and said, "Oh no, we ain't taking that." Reject, and then I'm just like, so.
I was doing what I was supposed to do,
But I know that I have lost a lot of jobs because I will not take those vaccines. I have been healthy and not had the flu and not had the coronavirus and I don't have to knock on wood because I know I'm being precautious and I know I'm taking care of me. So those things, yes, those are boundaries that I refuse to cross. And I have lost out on, lucrative jobs. But I know the man who provides and somebody comes along who has just as much and like, oh, I don't take it either. Okay, then we can work together,
Right.
So,
yeah, and that's that peace of mind that you were talking about. If you're forcing yourself into this weird box to conform for money or for this family to have the right, but it's not actually authentically you, it's not going to ever work.
Exactly. Say that again. And why it won't work?
If you are throwing yourself all out of whack, trying to please this, that, and the other, but it's not authentically you, at one point you are going to burn out, and that's going to be the end of it. So sticking to your guns, knowing what is your truest value, your truest authenticity, and sticking to it will be successful every single time.
Enough said. Okay. I'm currently in Florida. Oh, we got okay.
Oh, stop talking Florida.
About Florida. That's why I was laughing. I was like, okay, she said Florida, and I was like, that's why I was laughing earlier. She says, Zadie says, me too, Angela. I passed up many jobs because of that. Even yesterday, I did. Oh, see, even yesterday, I don't blame you. And see that's the thing. You have to find your people. When you find your people that you can work with and that know you, trust you, value you.
I'm sorry. I have a pet chinchilla, and at 6 o'clock, she always gets really.
Oh, okay.
Gets real excited.
We're practically done, so I'll let you go and take her. So
Chula called it a night. She was like, "I'm done with this talking."
In other words, let me put a period in there.
That's exactly what
you're done. You're done. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you have not followed Sarah, please go on Instagram and follow her. She has the funniest, some of the funniest, but it's funny because it's so true. And because I've been through it, and I'm like, man, was she a fly on the wall? She has the funniest videos, the funniest reels, but they are so just on point. So if you haven't followed her, please, please, please do. Let's see. Lucretia says, I love chinchillas. And Mitch says, we need to see the chinchilla. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Mitch. And Lucretia says, thank you, Sarah and Angela. Thank you, Lucretia. And thank you, everyone else who, thank you, Zadie. Thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. And like I said, follow Sarah on Instagram.com at The Modern Nanny. I promise you, you will not be sorry. And you will learn, even though it's funny, you will learn things that are funny to you, mean something to you, you remember them better. And like, where did I find that? Okay, let me go over here and look at that again. I take some of your videos and I send them to my friends. I said, look, well, look at this. Didn't we just talk about this? Didn't we just say this? So I send I'm like, okay, the little airplane looking thing. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna send that one to that. And off it goes. And they all send me little laughing faces. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I've been through that. Oh my gosh, I just went through that last night. So follow her, you all. Now, next week, we are going to be talking with a dermatologist. And Dr. Tracy is going to tell us about kids' skin, how to take care of their skin, their precious, because ours is old, worn and tired, feel like leather sometimes. I have my thumb right now. You can't see it because of the light. It is cracking right here because
the worst, the cold.
Because of the cold, and I'm always washing dishes. I'm always washing bottles and washing bottles and washing bottles. And I kind of got smart 2 or 3 days ago. It's starting to dry up now, but I mean, it was cracked and bleeding. I finally got me some, gloves. Hello. Oh. I finally got some gloves and started washing the dishes with gloves and started putting lotion on my hands more so that they won't crack. Good night, Zadie. Lucretia says, is she in Facebook or YouTube? Are you on Facebook or YouTube?
I am on Facebook, but I am not nearly as consistent as I would like to be. Soon, maybe one day. Maybe that's my 2021 project is
Well,
Facebook.
if they can find you one place consistently, that's Instagram. Go to Instagram and follow her.
Yes.
I promise you, you won't be sorry. So you all join us next week, same time, same place. Dr. Tracy is going to talk to us about kids' skin. And I've learned she was one of the reasons I saw her on somebody else talking with somebody else on Instagram. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do that for me.
So, my skin needs that.
Not only about my grandkids because they have eczema. My grandsons have eczema and what to use and how to treat it and all that good stuff. Because when they come to visit, I'm always trying to find some concoction to make up to put on it. So I'm like, because they're just like
itchy.
Yeah. Itchy. And then it always gets in those places like in your pits and right in between your thighs, behind your knees.
Yeah, the knee.
All those bending places, all those little places that will hold heat. If you hold your arm, if you're like this for too long, it'll start itching in there. If you're sitting down and your legs are closed, it'll start itching between your thighs. If you're bending your knees, it starts itching behind your knees. Those are the worst places that they have. Oh, in the back of their neck. Oh. So it's trust me, you'll learn something from her. She was just talking in general, and I was like, hey, let me write this down. So in just general talking, I was just passing through, and I heard that. I said, wait a minute, let me stop, let me listen. And I'm glad I did because I picked up a few tips from her. And that made me call her, text her and say, look, I need you on the show. So she's going to be here next week to talk with us about skincare. And I'm sure she'll probably talk to us about our own skin. But I also want her to talk about the kids' skincare because a lot of times, we're on Facebook and they come in a group. What do you think this is? What does this look like? Like we're doctors. And my child had that. Try this, try that, do this, do that. And I'm like, do you all really have a degree to tell them? And I'm like, oh, and then I get jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, yeah, that looks like, and I'm like, do you have a degree to tell them?
I hear you.
But we will jump on the bandwagon because we want to help. And then in mine, I say, but be sure you check with the pediatrician before.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day,
this is my disclaimer. Because at the end of the day, I have no degree.
Exactly. Don't quote me.
I don't know what your child is allergic to. I don't know what they've been into. Yeah. So at the end of the day, my disclaimer is on there. we thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all next Monday. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving us the value, the need, and the action. Yes, the value, the need, and the action. Remember those words. Value yourself. Know what you need, and then take action. Now, that's not what she said. That's what I said.
I'm saying yes, too.
I caught you off guard.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Yeah, me too.
Ditto.
All right, you all. You all have a great night, and we will see you all next week.